Hey guys, I'm just trying to, whip out some videos because I haven't made some in such a long time. So again, I'm going to do another sequel. This will be the last sequel. The next video I'm going to do an original film. This franchise has, I believe, only 4 sequels, and this is the second sequel in the franchise. And let me give you a hint. It was created by Toby Hooper, and it features Gunnar Hansen as the killer in the film. And in case, for some reason you haven't noticed what it is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise, and the film I will be reviewing will be the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. And again, I only have this movie on tape, mainly because I just can't find it on the internet, or I can't find it in the stores, but I can find it on the internet. Now, in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, people didn't understand the humor of the film. There were some funny moments in the film, but people didn't understand it, as Toby Hooper said. So when he made this film, he wanted to emphasize more humor, and trust me, he does that in this film. This film is funny, yet gory. It's not scary at all. It's just funny and gory. This film is about a retired Texas Ranger named Lefty, played by Dennis Hopper, who is the brother of Franklin, the guy in the wheelchair from the first film. And he is trying to hunt down these people that have been killing people with chainsaws. And he comes encounter later in the film with a radio host named Stretch. And Stretch is a radio announcer, DJ. As she gets a call from someone who keeps, filling up her phone lines, and they end up getting murdered live on the radio by these Texas chainsaw murderers, and she ends up finding this Texas Ranger in the newspaper and looks him up at his apartment and gives him this tape of the recording of the murder. And and so he ends up trying to find, Leatherface, the cook, as he is known in this film, who was the dad, or Pa, in the first film. And then the crazy guy, can't remember his name, but he is funny in this film. And, it's got some good moments. And Jim Sidow is the only character from the first film to return to reprise his role in the sequel. No one else can't return for the second film. And, this film is great. People automatically diss the Texas Chainsaw Massacre sequels. I mean, this is the only good one. 3 and 4 are terrible. I mean, I've only seen half of 3. I couldn't even get through it. I've heard 4 is pretty good. And, he waited 12 years after the original to make a sequel. I don't really know why. But Dennis Hopper has been quoted as saying that he thinks this is his worst role in a film ever. And I got that from IMDb, in case you want to check up on it. And I think he's great in this film. He's funny, he's hilarious, he's creative, he was perfect for this part. And, he does some funny things in this movie. And it has a makeup job by Tom Savini, who is a legend with makeup, along with, Rick Baker, who did, The Grinch. He did American Werewolf of London, and Jack Pierce, who created the original Frankenstein, the Wolfman, the Mummy. And he, the Leatherface mask in this film, you can tell it was made by Tom Savini, because it's a Tom Savini creation. The one in the first film, was done by like an amateur. He wasn't a master. And you can tell because it looks like an ordinary man made it. In this film, it just looks like a fake mess. But it's still a good film nonetheless, and I don't necessarily like the guy who portrays Leatherface. Leatherface in this film is more retarded than he was in the first film, and he ends up falling in love with Stretch. And there's this one part in the film that really gets me, that really just disturbs me. He goes to the radio station where Stretch is working at and pretend he has her in a corner, and he pretends to screw her with his chainsaw. And I mean, it's funny, but it totally destroys Leatherface, and they definitely dropped this personality for the third film. And the chainsaw in this film is huge. I mean, it was specially designed, but it is freaking long, and oh god, it's just so big. And it is a good movie. People, they need to appreciate that the original creator came back and did the first sequel. I mean, it may not be the best film in the franchise. I mean, this is up there as one of the best films in the franchise, but it's better than any of the other Texas Chainsaw Massacre pictures, including the newer ones. This film also suffered a heavy censorship blow. Apparently, when they released it, it was so gory that they had to cut like 20 or 30 minutes of the film away. And I believe it was still released unrated, but you know, it's not really gory. I mean, there's some blood in it, but it's not as gory as some other films of the 80s. Like, I think Friday the 13th is gorier than this. Or Last House, well, not Last House on the Left, maybe The Evil Dead. That was released unrated too, and it's gorier than this. But, when you watch a Toby Hooper interview about this film, he just always comments about how this film was destroyed by the editing. And they have released a DVD of this film. It's a recent release, and it's uncut. They put back in the like 25, 30 minutes of footage back into the film. And I have not seen it yet, but I really want to, because I really enjoy this film, and I'm wondering if maybe the uncut version is better. And if you've seen it, please leave comments, under this video. But I'll give this film a 5 out of 5. I mean, it's not the best film in the series, but it deserves a decent rating for, the original creator coming up to do the sequel. And it's just got more laughs, and it's just enjoyable to watch. I never get bored from watching this film. I highly recommend this to anyone who, loves horror films. You don't necessarily have to see the first one to understand anything in this movie. It's not a direct sequel. I mean, everybody knows who Leatherface is, so you wouldn't necessarily need to see the first one. But again, if you're looking to see a good movie, this is a good one to watch. See The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. It's a great film.